Shalom, shalom to the nation of Israel. Yahawah Bahasham Atha. This is Soldier Hamah and
The officers of car.
right of the Light of Zion, Augusta, Georgia, under Minister Solomon and Priest Kahan of the Light of Zion. Right now, today, we'll be going to Thanksgiving a little bit because I know Thanksgiving is tomorrow, right? The so-called Thanksgiving holiday, and a lot of our people, a lot of Israel, we love to celebrate this holiday, Thanksgiving, right? So we're gonna go a little bit into Thanksgiving, a little bit into Yahawashi, right? It won't be a long session today, but we'll touch on what we touch on today, right? So we always start off with the book of Colossians, chapter 3, verse 17, every time, right? This is our go-to, right? So let's go ahead and start off with the book of Colossians, chapter 3, verse 17.
This is the book of Colossians, chapter 3 and verse 17. And whatsoever you do, in word or deed, do all in the name of Hamashiach Yahawashi, giving thanks to the Most High and the Father by Him.
Right. So in whatever we do, right, every time we're giving glory, honor, praises to the Most High, I always do it through Hamashiach Yahawashi. Always remember to do it through Hamashiach Yahawashi, right? Give me John chapter 10, verse 30. Okay. I always gotta do it through Hamashiach Yahawashi. Right, let's see what Hamashiach Yahawashi says. Jeremiah chapter 10, verse 30.
This is the book of John, chapter 10 and verse 30.
Okay.
I and my Father are one.
What did Yahawashi say?
I and my Father are one.
Now Christians love to take this scripture out of context, right? And they'll say that Jesus is God, right? Because they're saying that this here is saying that Jesus is God. Right? That's not what's going on over here, right? Yahawashi is saying him and his Father is one. Because if you believe in the Most High, you should also believe in Yahawashi. Right? You can't say you believe in the Most High, but you don't believe in Yahawashi. Right? Give me John chapter 14, verse 1, so I can do this furthermore.
This is the book of John, chapter 14 and verse 1. Let not your heart be troubled. Ye believe in the Most High, believe also in me.
Ye what?
Ye believe in the Most High, believe also in me.
Right, this is red letters. Yahawashi said, if you believe in the Most High, you also believe in me. Now, this is why Yahawashi is counting them as one. Right, it's like me going to the locker room, or if I'm out somewhere in public and I'm with officers of car, I'm like, yo, if anybody mess with him, y'all messing with me. That don't mean I'm him. Right, that's not what that means. So you always got to know that whatever you're doing, no matter what it is, right, you do it in the name of Hamashiach Yahawashi. Right, you give thanks, glory, honor, praises in words, in deeds, through your actions, through what you're saying. You always got to remember Yahawashi. Because who was Yahawashi? Yahawashi was that perfect man. Right? He kept the commandments. Just he's like an example to us. He's our leader. He leads us to the Most High. And this is why we always got to give thanks through Hamashiach Yahawashi. Right, give me drop down to verse 10.
This is the book of John, chapter 14 and verse 10. Believest thou not that I am in the Father, and the Father in me?
Right. So Yahawashi said that the Father is in him, and he's in the Father. He's in the Most High.
The words that I speak unto you, I speak not of myself, but the Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works.
Right. So the words that come out of Yahawashi's mouth, it's not just himself. Right. It's not just coming out of his mouth. Those are the words of the Most High. Right? This is why it's important to give thanks to the Most High through Yahawashi. Right. Was that it? Keep going on that.
Verse 11. Believe me that I am in the Father, and the Father in me, or else believe me for the very work's sake. For the very work's sake. Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that believeth on me, the works that I do shall he do also, and greater works than these shall he do.
Right. So the works that the most that Yahawashi do, we're supposed to be doing also. And Yahawashi kept the commandments. Yahawashi was keeping the commandments. Right? He is literally our leader, right? He is an example unto the nation of Israel. This is one of the reasons he was sent down here to really guide us, right? To guide us to the Most High. And how was he doing that? By keeping the commandments. And that's how he was doing it. He was doing it by keeping the commandments. And it's important for us to notice. And this is why Yahawashi is important. This is why everything we do it in the name of Hamashiach Yahawashi. Because we know the Father is in him. Right? We was going off. We were sinning left and right. We were sinning left and right. So what the Most High did, he sent his only begotten son. That's how much he loved us. He sent a perfect man into the nation of Israel and was telling us that we need to be like him, right? And one thing you know about Yahawashi is he wasn't celebrating Thanksgiving. Nowhere in the scriptures was Yahawashi celebrating Thanksgiving. All right, keep going on that.
Verse 13.
Yeah, you can stop at 14.
Stop at verse 14, you said?
Yeah, you could keep reading though.
It's like, and whatsoever you do, it's like whatever you shall ask in my name, that will I do, that the Father may be glorified in the Son. If ye shall ask anything in my name, I will do it.
Right. So that's why we ask it in the name of Hamashiach Yahawashi. That's coming out of Yahawashi's mouth. Right. Verse 14, he says, if ye shall ask anything in my name, right? Well, this is why it's important to know his name. It's not Jesus, it's not Joshua, but Yahawashi, because that's what his name is. Right? He said, if you shall ask anything in my name, I will do it. Right? That's the words of the Most High. Remember that. That's the word of the Most High. Give me Deuteronomy 18:18. Now, those are the words of the Most High.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 18 and verse 18. I will raise them up a prophet from among their brethren,
right,
like unto thee, and will put my words in his mouth. And he shall speak unto them all that I shall command him. And it shall come to pass that whosoever will not hearken unto my words, which he shall speak in my name, I will require it of him.
Right. So he'll be required of you. Right. That prophet right there is Yahawashi. Right, you can go back to John. That prophet right there is Yahawashi. Whatever comes out of his mouth is a command from the Most High. It's a command from the Most High. John chapter 14.
Verse 15.
Yeah. Start at 22. Drop down to 22.
This is the book of John, chapter 14, verse 22. Judas saith unto him, not Iscariot, Lord, how is it that thou wilt manifest thyself unto us?
That's one of the disciples, right?
And not unto the world.
So like, you read it again.
Verse 22. Judas saith unto him, not Iscariot, Adawan, how is it that thou wilt manifest thyself unto us, and not unto the world?
Right. So why are you manifesting yourself into us? That's one of the disciples. Right? Why are you manifesting yourself to us, but not to the whole world right now? Right. Let's see what Yahawashi response was. Right.
Verse 23. Yahawashi answered and said unto him, if a man love me, he will keep my words.
If a man what?
If a man love me, he will keep my words.
Don't forget, the words of Yahawashi is the words of the Most High. If a man love him, he'll keep his words, the words of the Most High. Right? Keep going.
And my Father will love him, and we will come unto him and make our abode with him. He that loveth me not, keepeth not my sayings.
Right. So he that don't love him doesn't keep his sayings, doesn't keep the words of Yahawashi, doesn't keep the words of the Most High.
And the word which ye hear is not mine, but the Father's which sent me.
Who? But
the Father's which sent me.
The Father who sent him was the Most High. Right? It's not Yahawashi words. He's saying it's not my words. Right? It's like him being the deliverer. Right? It's not his words, but it's the Most High's word. Right? So what's coming out of his mouth is the word of the Most High, which is explanation of him saying, I and my Father is one, because that's the Most High word coming out of his mouth. He was perfect. Right? Everything he said was perfect. Everything he did was perfect. Right? Was that it on that? Con. So that's why it's important. We always do it in the name of Hamashiach Yahawashi. Bahasham Hamashiach Yahawashi. Whenever we're giving thanks, honor, glory, praises to the Most High, we always have to do it through Hamashiach Yahawashi. And we know how important Yahawashi is to the Most High. We know how important Yahawashi is, his only begotten son. The Most High loved Yahawashi so much. Right? Yahawashi was perfect. Yahawashi was an example to Israel. Right? Whatever you're saying, whatever you're doing, make sure you try and be like Yahawashi. Who wouldn't want to be like Yahawashi? Right? You always have to strive to be perfect like Yahawashi. It's important. It's important. Right? So whenever I'm giving glory to the Most High, I always got to do it through Hamashiach Yahawashi. Why? Because they are one. And I'm not talking about they're just Yahawashi is God or the Most High. I'm not saying that. But you cannot get to the Most High without Yahawashi. It's like a bridge. Like Yahawashi is the bridge to the Most High. You can't say you don't believe in Yahawashi, but you believe in the Most High. Right? That's the meaning behind Yahawashi and the Most High is one. It doesn't mean they're the same person, that they're the same thing. Right? Did you have anything to say?
No.
Give me the book of 1 John chapter 2 verse 15. Okay, let's start at Romans 12 actually. Romans 12 and 2. Right, now let's talk about Thanksgiving real quickly, right? Now, just as we know, right? Nowhere in the scriptures do you find Yahawashi celebrating Thanksgiving. Nowhere in the scriptures do you find Thanksgiving and for us to celebrate Thanksgiving. At they start, what they do in Thanksgiving, they be cooking, eating, doing all that stuff. We don't know the history behind it, right? There's nowhere in the scriptures do you find Thanksgiving as a holy holiday, as a holy feast day. Nowhere in the scriptures are you going to find it. So where are we getting this from? Right? Read that.
This is the book of Romans, chapter 12 and verse 2. And be not conformed to this world.
Be not what?
Be not conformed to this world.
We shouldn't be conformed to this world right now.
But be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of the Most High. For I say,
that was it for Salakia. So what they do, right? What the heathens do is they build their traditions, right, off rape, robbing, murder. Right? They build their tradition off of that and celebrate it and have us celebrate it. Right? I'm gonna pull up a source in a few, right? But this is what they do. Our history, throughout our whole history, right? We've been getting raped, robbed, and murdered. Right? We've been getting abused, tortured. What they do, they build it up and celebrate it. We start eating on the day we was getting murdered.
Yeah.
We start hanging up stuff in the trees on the day we was getting hanged up in the tree. Yeah, but we don't see it, right? We don't see it. That's why the Most High said to not be conformed of this world. Because if you're doing what they do, you don't even care about our people, nor our ancestors. And that's disrespectful, right? One of the greatest commandments is to love your brethren as you love yourself. You have to love your brethren. You have to love your forefathers. You have to love our people. Now, if you celebrating these holidays, what is that saying? Does that show that you love our ancestors? Because they was getting raped, robbed, and murdered. They was going through it. Right? And a lot of y'all would say that was the past, but you celebrate Thanksgiving, which is the past. But y'all celebrate Christmas, which was in the past. Right? You remember the Titanic. You remember all the sad things. 9/11 hit. You all sad and everything. But once we talk about slavery, it's the past. Move on from it. It clearly shows how much you don't care about our people. It shows you how much you do not care about our people. Or about our forefathers and our foremothers that was getting raped, robbed, and murdered. Right? They was getting tortured, abused. Right? They was sick. They was working till they dropped dead.
Can't bring it up.
But we seem to not care about that, right? And that's not how we're supposed to be living. We're supposed to remember this thing. We're supposed to remember the things that these heathens did to our people, to the nation of Israel, the most high holy people. Right? You shouldn't just throw it out the window because it was the past. So that's why it's important to notice, to not be conformed to what's going on in the world right now.
Con being a part of it.
Exactly. Con, give me Colossians 2 and 8. Colossians chapter 2, verse 8.
This is the book of Colossians, chapter 2 and verse 8.
Mm-hmm.
Beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy.
Through what?
Philosophy.
Through philosophy. Mm-hmm.
And vain deceit.
And vain deceit. Right? Those are the holidays we're celebrating. That's their philosophy. That's their vain deceit. Mm-hmm. Was that it?
After the tradition of men.
After the tradition of who?
After the tradition of men.
We ought to obey the Most High over men. You going what men do. Because it's not in the scriptures. It's not of the Most High because it's not in the scriptures to celebrate Thanksgiving. You're going off what men made up, what the heathens made up, these other nations made up. And this is what it's talking about. We shouldn't be going through. That's why we shouldn't be following their traditions. If you're gonna do something, at least know what's going on. Right? Don't just don't just go lean on your own understanding. It's important to do your research on this stuff. To read the Bible and this stuff, to read the scriptures, to understand our history. This is why it's important to know our history. They wouldn't teach you this in church because they're going off what men made. The religion is what men made. They're not going to teach you that in church. They're not going to teach you that nowhere in any religion. Right? There might be some religions out there that might be like, oh, okay, Thanksgiving is not okay, la 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 la. But they go on to celebrate the Christmas. They go on to celebrate Easter, right? We need to understand this. They're not going to teach you this in church. This is why it's important to know this stuff, right? Because you touch Israel, you touch the nation of Israel. These heathens are touching the nation of Israel. They touching the apple of the Most High, right? The eye of the Most High. Right, let's go ahead. You want to say something? Give me 1 Peter 2 and 9. All right, let me see if I could share this.
This is the book of 1 Peter, chapter 2 and verse 9.
Mm-hmm.
But ye are a chosen generation.
A what?
A chosen generation.
We are a chosen generation. Mm-hmm.
A royal priesthood.
A royal priesthood, Salakia. Mm-hmm.
And holy nation.
We are a holy, separate nation. We are separate for a reason. He called us holy for a reason, not to do what the other people do. Mm-hmm.
A peculiar people.
Meaning we are a special people, special to the Most High. Mm-hmm.
That you should shoot forth the praises of him who hath called you out of darkness into his marvelous light.
That's right. And we need to get out of this darkness and come back to the light. That marvelous light. Right? The law, statutes, and commandments. Right? Let me share this real quickly. Right? This is a source I was looking at earlier, right? On Wikipedia. All right, so let me say how dumb Thanksgiving is. Just off reading this, right? Comparing this to the scriptures. Right? You want to read it?
We want to start off.
Just start the first one, right? Just start the first paragraph.
All right, it says Thanksgiving is a federal holiday in the United States.
It's a federal holiday in the United States. Right? Don't forget. Right? The earth was given to the hand of the wicked.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Who are the most wicked people on this earth right now? It's Esau.
That's right.
It's them Edomites. Right? They are the most wicked. Predominantly, they're in the United States. They are actually, the United States is probably where they actually dwell the most, where they actually have the most power. United States is one of the most powerful states, countries, Salakia. Right? So go ahead.
Celebrated on the 4th Thursday of November.
Mm-hmm.
It is sometimes called American Thanksgiving.
It's called American Thanksgiving. Not an Israelite Thanksgiving, but American Thanksgiving. Mm-hmm. Right? It's not in the scriptures. I don't see no scriptures, right, showing you that you should be celebrating this. Mm-hmm.
It says outside the United States to distinguish it from the Canadian holiday of the same name, mm-hmm. and related It's like in related celebrations in other regions.
In other regions, right?
It originated as a harvest festival, and the certain piece of Thanksgiving celebrations remains Thanksgiving dinner.
All right, so that's what they do. They eat dinner, right? Go ahead.
The dinner traditionally consists of foods and dishes indigenous to the Americas.
To the Americas. And
Na-
this is going to go into some food, right? Turkeys, potatoes, etc., right? This is something we shouldn't be celebrating. This is something we shouldn't be participating in. Right? This is for the heathens. This is not our holiday. This is not in the scriptures. Right? I want somebody to go out, right? Because you know Christians, they celebrate it. You know all these other religions, they celebrate it. Where in the scriptures does it say it though? To celebrate this holiday, this pagan holiday. Where in the scriptures does it show it, right? Read go down to the second paragraph.
It says the New England colonists were accustomed to regularly celebrating both days of prayer and fasting in response to disasters thought to reflect divine judgment.
Right. And again, that's not in the scripture.
And also days of thanksgiving, thanking God for blessings such as a military victory or the end of a drought.
They're thanking God for blessings such as military victory or the end of drought.
Devils, man.
Right. Come on, man. You see how ridiculous it sounds? Just off looking at it. All right, go ahead.
The event that Americans commonly call the first Thanksgiving was celebrated by the Pilgrims after their first harvest in the quote-unquote New World in October 1621.
In October 1621. What happened to us in 1619? Well, we was getting raped, robbed, and murdered. We was in the middle of getting traded. Well, we were getting traded. That's what our people was. That's what the holy people was. Right? We was busy getting abused out there. We was going through it. That was our ancestors during those times. Right? October 1621. That's 2 years later. Right? This is we was going through something else. And they're over here celebrating. They're over here eating, having a blast. And this is what we celebrating today. Do we not care about our ancestors? Right. Right. And if you look to the side, right, it shows the celebrations, right? Giving thanks, prayer, feasting, spending time with family, religious services, football, games, parades. Give me Sirach chapter 12, verse 16. Give me Sirach chapter 12, verse 16. Because this is what they do to us. This is one of the ways they could get you into doing or following their pagan holidays. This Thanksgiving that they have, this so-called Thanksgiving, what we call Thanksgiving.
This is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 12 and verse 16. An enemy speaketh sweetly with his lips.
Right. So giving thanks, prayer, feasting, spending time with family, religious services, watching football games, parades. Those are all nice words that they were speaking to our people and to the nation of Israel, right? Knowing that we was enslaved during those times. During the 1621, we was enslaved. Everybody know about it. 1619. This is 2 years later. We was not free. We was getting raped, robbed, and murdered. Right. So what they do, they speak sweetly with their mouth. Right. And this is why you see our people celebrating it today. That's why you see our people celebrating it today. Right. They'll tell you, oh, I'm just, we're just hanging out with the family. No, it's just for the kids. We're doing this for the kids. We're doing this for the family. It's okay to eat what I want to eat. Right. I'm cooking for the family. We're having a time. We're hanging out together. Why don't you do it? Why you got to wait till Thanksgiving to spend time with your family? So that you're debunking yourself, because you wait till Thanksgiving to spend time with your family, to give thanks, prayer, the feasting, all this extra stuff. This is what y'all wait for. Y'all wait till the fourth Thursday of November to do this. Y'all wait till Thanksgiving to do this. Why? Why can't you do this every day, every week, every other month? Why you gotta wait till so-called Esau, these pagan holidays, these heathens holiday, why you gotta wait till Thanksgiving to do this? Because you're following their traditions. That's why.
Bring that out. Come. It says, but in his heart he imagineth how to throw thee into a pit.
Yeah, they imagine how to throw you in a pit. Because you know what you don't know low-key what you're celebrating. And again, you celebrating that, you going up against the Most High.
Come.
You celebrating these pagan holidays, you going up against the Most High. Now this is how they throwing us down in the bottom pit, right? You're not following the Most High. You're following these pagans, these pagan holidays.
Come.
You're obeying men over the Most High, because these men is what made these holidays. Right? If I had kept on reading, right, it would have gotten into it more. Right? But this is what our people, this is what we choose to celebrate. We choose to celebrate men over the Most High. Because in the beginning, we know that Thanksgiving wasn't a thing. It's not in the Torah. It's not in the commandments. It's not in the laws. It's not a holy day. It's not a holy feast day. I don't know where we're getting these stuff from. Right? We shouldn't be doing or going the heathen's way. All right, so get 1 Peter again, chapter 2, verse 9.
God. This is the book of 1 Peter. 2 Peter, Salaki, chapter 2 and verse 9.
Yeah, Salaki.
But you good. But ye are a chosen generation.
Right, we are a chosen generation to the Most High.
A royal priesthood. And holy nation.
A holy nation, a separate nation, a set apart nation.
A peculiar people.
Special.
That you should shew forth the praises of him who hath called you out of darkness into his marvelous light.
Yeah, it's about time we get out of this darkness. It's about time we start celebrating Thanksgiving, this pagan holiday, this man-made holiday. Right. We all know the scripture. You have to give me that Acts 5 and 29. Let me get that real quick. Acts 5 and 29.
This is the book of Acts, chapter 5 and verse 29. Then Peter and the other apostles answered and said, we ought to obey the Most High.
And what the Most High gave us? Commandments. Right? He gave us our own feast days. Right? He gave us a Sabbath day, but we're not celebrating that. We're celebrating Thanksgiving. Right? He gave us a Sabbath, the Passover, the Feast of Tabernacles. Right? All these different holidays he gave us. These holy feast days he gave us. Right? Those are the holy feast days he gave us. Right? But we decide to go on and do what the heathens do and celebrate Thanksgiving. Why? Because it sounds amazing. Because it sounds, because you're spending time with your family. Now you're getting finessed at this point by the men. Right? You're obeying the men over God. Right? They're good at this stuff. They're good at lying. This is what the so-called this is what Esau is made to do, lie. This is what they're made to do. And they don't want you obeying the Most High. They want you obeying them. That's what they want you doing. Yeah, go ahead and finish it. Salakia.
From the top?
Yeah, you can start from the top.
This is the book of Acts, chapter 5 and verse 29. Then Peter and the other apostles answered and said, we ought to obey the Most High rather than men.
Right, so we have to obey the Most High, which is the laws, which he gave us the laws, statutes, and commandments over men and their traditions. Right, Thanksgiving is part of their traditions because you won't find it in the scripture, and I could promise you that you will not find Thanksgiving in the scripture.
$1,000 to anybody who can.
$1,000.
You can't find it.
You can't. $1,000 to anybody who could find Thanksgiving in the scriptures and where Yahawashi celebrated it, or even Moses, where Moses celebrated. Right, because it's not coming from the Most High. Then who is coming from? Men.
Bring it out.
And the Most High said you have to obey the Most High over men. That's who you have to obey. The Most High, our power over men and their traditions. Right? Because we know that the laws of the Most High, he gave us the laws, the statutes, and the commandments. And you are called holy. The law itself is holy.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to stay away from this stuff, keep the law, statutes, and commandments. It will keep you on track. That's what it's here for, right? Give me Romans 7:12.
This is the book of Romans, chapter 7 and verse 12.
Mm-hmm.
Wherefore, the law is holy.
The what?
The law is holy.
The law is holy. The law is separate. Right? We know the Most High is holy. We know Yahawashi is holy. Right? We know we are holy. Right? The nation of Israel is holy. Right? Who else is holy? The law is holy also. Right? The law is here for us to keep. It will keep you on track. If Yahawashi kept the law, what makes you think you shouldn't be keeping the law?
Bring that out.
What makes you think you are better than Yahawashi? Now, if you're not keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, right, it would lead, you would go astray. Right? That's what's making you go off. You're not paying attention. You're not keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. You're not reading the scriptures to know what you should and shouldn't be doing. And that's why in Revelation it says, "Blessed are those that readeth." Because if you read, it would make you holy. Right? If you respect and obey the Most High, His laws, statutes, and commandments, if you believe in Yahawashi and follow Yahawashi footsteps, right, or a leader, right, then you shouldn't be doing what the other nations are doing, and you wouldn't be doing it.
By the way, that differentiates us between, that's the differentiation between us and Christianity, because Christianity teaches against the law, statutes, and commandments. Yet, what do? They celebrate things that are contrary to what the Most High told us to do. Right? I'm saying, so when we have the law, statutes, and commandments, we understand that we have holy days that the Most High gave us, that He ordained for us to keep. While Christians will say, we can celebrate anything else. You don't have to keep the holy days anymore because it's done away with, which is the most idiotic thing to say. Considering that the Most High said that that's something that He literally declared for us to do throughout our generations. He never declared us to celebrate Christmas. He never declared us to celebrate Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm. Never
declared us to celebrate Valentine's Day, St. Patrick's Day, Veterans Day, all these different holidays that they have out here.
Bring that out.
Those things were not made for us. They're literally contrary to, for us. They're not even for us at all. If you look at the history behind all these things, the origins behind all these holidays that they have, it's never a celebration of us, ever. Especially Thanksgiving. When you talk about the Northern Kingdom and what they did to them. For our people to be celebrating it still to this day in 2021, that's like spitting in a so-called Native American's face.
Exactly.
Salaki, go ahead.
That was very powerful right there, right? Give me Galatians 4:16. It's very powerful. It's like spitting in the Native American's face for real. Because they was getting killed. Right? They were getting killed.
This is the book of Galatians, chapter 4 and verse 16.
Mm-hmm.
Am I therefore become your enemy because I tell you the truth?
Right. So again, right, these Christians or any of these religions, right, religious people that celebrate Thanksgiving or anybody that celebrate it in general, right, they think they're doing something good, right, because they were speaking sweetly that they should be celebrating this, right, that they would speak just like the heathens, right, they would speak sweetly into you. They'll say nice things to you, right, like, oh, it's a get together, it's a time to spend with your family. They would say sweet things like this. So if you go up against that, what makes you think they wouldn't hate you? They would tell you that you are hating, that you don't love your family. That's what they would tell you because you're not doing what they do. And they think what they doing is something sweet and something nice. Right? You going to bring it out again?
I got one scripture.
This
is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 12 and verse 10. Never trust thine enemy.
Never what?
Never trust thine enemy.
You should never trust thine enemies. Never trust our enemies or these other nations, these heathens. Right? They're celebrating Thanksgiving. Bump it. Don't listen to them. I don't care what they say. I don't care if they say, it's for the family, it's for the kids. I don't care what they say. I don't care if they say, if you eat this, it'll make you stronger. And they're going to science and prove it and all that stuff. I don't care. Right? You shouldn't be trusting them. Right? Because all they're going to do is lead you astray. And we're going to get into that in a little bit too. All they're going to do is lead you astray from the law, statutes, and commandments. That's their job.
For like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness.
Right. So just like iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. His wickedness is an ongoing thing. These other heathens, they've always been, right? It's nothing new under the sun. They've always been wicked. Always. You look at what they've been doing to us in 1621, right? Even 1619, but the start of Thanksgiving in 1621, when they started celebrating it and all that, and what they're doing to us now, there's no difference. And I believe Abraham Lincoln has something to do with it. Right? These past presidents, they are a slave owner. They owned slave. They are slave masters. Right? For example, George Washington, he had slaves. It was our ancestors. Right? It's nothing new under the sun. And up to this day, we're using money with a slave master face in it. Right? He was whipping our ancestors. On Ecclesiastes 1:9. Right? It's nothing new under the sun. Up to this day, they don't like us, and it would for always lead you astray from the Most High. Right? Did you want to touch on that or something?
Verse 12 touches on that pretty heavily. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and verse 12. Set him not by thee, lest when he hath overthrown thee, he stand up in thy place. Neither let him sit at thy right hand, lest he seek to take thy seat. And thou at the last remember my words and be pricked therewith. Because what happened to the so-called Native Americans? What happened to the Northern Kingdom? They trusted Esau and his words, and Esau literally, like a snake, slithered in and took their place. Put them into captivity and slavery. Sold them on ships as well, just like as they did to the Southern Kingdom. All these things are documented in history. It's all literally documented in history. Because as soon as they started trusting them, what happened? They overtook them. They overthrew them. So I hear about the Trail of Tears and all these different things that happened to the Native Americans, to our Northern Kingdom brothers and sisters that were over here. That's because they trusted in the enemy. You don't trust Esau. You don't trust these other nations. You don't put them over your own people. Because as soon as you do that, now you're setting yourself up for failure. You're setting yourself up to fall down by your enemies, by the hands of your enemies. It's like, go ahead.
See, again, that's another powerful thing that our sister Carr said. Right? And to wrap this up, the more of that is to never trust thine enemies. He said, look what happened to us now when we trust our enemies. Right? We are led astray, and we don't even know what's going on up to this day because we trusted them and their traditions and their works and all that wicked things they've been doing. Right? We trusted them. Right? And we've been called holy by the Most High, meaning separate. Why does he call us separate? Who are we separate from? Everybody else. That's who we're separate from. Yeah, he created, a lot of people be like, oh, he created everybody. Okay, but he made us separate. Right? That's what the most High wants us to stay separate, to stay holy. Right? We shouldn't be following their footsteps, the heathen's footsteps. We should be following Yahawah's footsteps. And he, nowhere in the scriptures again, didn't keep Thanksgiving. Nowhere in the scriptures did he keep Thanksgiving.
Promote to keep it either.
Yeah, he didn't promote to keep it. Right? Let's hear something from Yahawashi mouth. Let me get Mark 13 and 13. Because again, you will be hated for this. You will be hated for going up against the traditions. Even from our own people, you'll be hated. Right? You'll be hated from our own people because they think they're doing something for the family, something sweet for the family. Imagine how dumb they will look at you if you be like, no, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this with y'all. That's wicked. That's not cool. They're like, what? How's that wicked? We're eating as a family. Yeah, you will be hated for this. All right, go ahead. You will be hated for being holy.
This is the book of Mark, chapter 13 and verse 13. And ye shall be hated of all men for my name's sake.
Right, for Yahawah's name's sake, right? If you're following his footsteps, right? And you're telling them, no, Yahawashi didn't keep Thanksgiving, so I'm not going to keep it. They're going to hate you for that.
They look at you weird for even speaking like that.
Exactly. I know if I go to my family, you know, if they celebrating Thanksgiving, everybody eating, everybody sitting at the table together, eating and all, and I'm in my room like, nah, I'm not part of this. They're gonna look at me like they probably gonna even start talking about me like, yeah, I don't know what's up with this man. You know, he's acting weird right now.
They start vexing you too at the dinner table.
Exactly. You know,
you sure you don't want to eat? All right, I'll take this thigh. I'll take this leg from you.
Exactly. They'll do anything they can to have you try and, you know, participate in their in the heathens tradition. They don't know what's going on, right? We know because we holy.
That's right.
You doing the things that heathens do. How does that make you separate? What are you separate from?
Bring that out. Because then you're conjoined to all these other nations of what they're doing. Just like in the times of the Maccabees, literally. And when you read Maccabees, the first Maccabees, right? It talks about that in the beginning chapters. Literally, about how they try to put all these different all these other nations' religions all together, and even had our people turn our back on the Most High and keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. And how the wicked of our people were promoting that as well. Like, yeah, ever since we left the heathen, we were always in problems or in trouble. When that's not even true. Because whenever we did what the Most High told us to do, we always prospered. We had no want for anything. Every single time we did what the Most High told us to do. So they were just being wicked in that day. Just as you see our people now in these last days. It's like
again, nothing new under the sun. Nothing new under the sun, right? You could go. Did you finish it?
I'm gonna read from the top again.
Go ahead.
This is the book of Mark, chapter 13 and verse 13. And ye shall be hated of all men for my name's sake. But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved.
Right. So again, you can't claim that you're gonna be saved, but doing what the heathens do. You have to endure to the end, meaning you have to focus to the end. You have to stay holy to the end, right? Because you will be tested. Just like Officer Carr said earlier, right? They will try and get you into eating. You sure you don't want no chicken? You sure you don't want this? You don't want that? You know, we made this only for you. You're not gonna sit here and have us waste of food. You better go eat it. They will test you. They will test your spirit. Right, but you gotta stay strong to the end. And those are the same people that's gonna be saved. Because you're genuine in what you do. And you're doing this for the Most High. You're not just doing it because you don't want to. Because you're not hungry. We're doing this for the Most High. I don't care how hungry I am. I'm not participating in Thanksgiving. And that's why you got to endure to the end. Those are the same people that's going to be saved. I know being saved is 20 times, a billion, million, trillion times more better than me eating Thanksgiving with my family. Right? Man, that's literally everybody's goal. Right? Even the religions up to this day, Christians, Catholics, the Muslims, they all want to be saved. And we all want to be saved. Right? So that's the whole purpose, right? If you want to be one of those, you got to set yourself apart from all the other nations. And their traditions. Right? You really have to know what's going on in scripture. This is why it's important to read this. Because, growing up, I used to celebrate Thanksgiving. I used to celebrate Thanksgiving. I used to think it was just a happy and a fun time. Right? Until I started learning this. Right. And it shows me, and it opened my eyes. I'm like, dang. Right. My family or my friends, well, we always to come together and eat. But I'm thinking, okay, now the Most High probably love this because we're together. That's what I used to think, right?
Yeah.
But we going to wear the heathens. I did not know that.
Exactly.
Why? Because we've been brainwashed and finessed into doing what the heathens do.
And the sad thing about it is that if you ask your family member, why are we celebrating Thanksgiving, what would they say to you usually? Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter the history behind it. As long as we come together and we're thankful for what God gave us. Really?
For real, praying over their food, praying over the food that they're eating.
Come, bring that out.
Or you're praying over the food that you're eating, but you're doing what the heathens do.
Not even only that, right. They're
Right.
praying over food that the Most High told us not to eat.
Even
that fat behind him on the table. No one did well. They're about to cut that thing open. No one.
exactly.
Like when you try to bring these scriptures out to them, right?
Mm-hmm.
But not eating ham, all these different things that we're not supposed to be eating. You got shrimp scampi on the table during Thanksgiving, mind you. Think about that. All these abominations on the table. You try to tell them that that's contrary to what the Most High say. They look at you like, it's food. What do you mean? All those things are done away with. It doesn't matter. You know, the pastor said we can eat it. I'm just going to believe what the pastor says. Who are you? They look at you like you're nothing, right? But we understand that the Most High said what? He's going to use those that we won't even expect to be in his truth. Right. We wouldn't expect to be somebody at a high, stature or a high level, right? He's going to use the poor of this world. And our people are the poor of this world. So it's just a matter of the respect that they have for our people, and they're not going to listen. It's that simple, because we look like them. They'd rather listen to Esau or these other nations rather than listen to our own people. But we try to bring out the history behind Thanksgiving, Christmas, and all these different holidays that we're not supposed to be celebrating. My bad. Go ahead.
Yeah, I remember when I was in elementary, I always wanted to be like the other nation. I ain't gonna lie. When I was in elementary, I didn't know all this stuff. Mind you, I did not know all this stuff. I've always wanted to be like the other nations. Right? I seen Esau. Like I always want to be like Esau. If you want me to be honest, I always want to be like Esau when I was in elementary school. I used to always tell my mom, what Esau be doing this. They be going out having fun. They be, my parents, we was always in the house. That's how my parents was. And I used to tell them, look, Esau, they always going out as a family. They always doing, celebrating Christmas, putting Christmas trees up. My parents did not rock with that. Right? My parents did, they're like, that's a waste of time. That's a waste of money. Right? They had nothing against it though, which is, still going off. But they just didn't want to waste their time because they think that's doing too much. But I used to always try and persuade my parents. I used to always be like, why can't we do this? Look how beautiful this is. Look how beautiful this house is. Why can't we do this stuff? I used to be like, when I grow up, when I get my kids, I'm going to be doing this. I'm going to make sure my kids enjoy the time. And this is the mindset they want you with.
That's right.
This is the mindset the other heathens put. They want you. This is the way they want you to think. And this is why they put up Christmas lights, Christmas trees. They're trying to look beautiful. Because imagine trying to be holy, right? And you driving by and you seeing all these beautiful things they got going on. You'd be like, dang, I want to be like that too.
Makes you want to miss out on the things that you used to have during your childhood.
Exactly. Exactly, Khan. And this is why, we always have to stay focused. If you keep the law, statutes, and commandments, again, which we prove that it was holy and separate, it would keep you holy and separate. Right? Because we could turn up at our own time. Now, I don't wait till Thanksgiving to get together with my family. I don't got to wait till Thanksgiving. I could do it any other days. I don't got to wait till Mother Day to kiss my mother and tell her thank you.
Precept, by the way.
Huh.
This is the book of John, chapter 15 of start at verse 18 and up at 19. If the world hate you, you know that it hated me before it hated you.
Right. And that's red letters, by the way.
If you were of the world would love his own. But because ye are not of the world, but I have chosen you out of the world, therefore the world hateth you.
Right. So read that again slowly this time. Right. John 15. Start at verse 18. Because that's a beautiful precept you put up.
John chapter 15 of verse 18. If the world hate you.
Who is the world that he is talking about? Right. It's not the nation of Israel, right? He's talking about all the other nations, the heathens, the non-Israelites, right? Because don't forget, right? We're not of the world. We're separate and holy. So he's talking about everybody else, right? If they hate you,
you know that it hated me before it hated you.
And this is red letters. They hated Yahawashi before they hated you. you have to remember that they hated Yahawashi before they hated you. I'm looking at it like, to me, that's a good thing. You know, I'm being like Yahawashi. Y'all hated Yahawashi. Y'all hate me. Y'all hate Yahawashi. So what? Right? That shows me that I'm doing the right thing. Because Yahawashi did the right thing. And he was still getting hated on. Mm-hmm.
Verse 19.
Con.
If you were of the world will love his own.
Right. So if you're with them, they would love you and they would welcome you. Right? They would love you and welcome you. They see you celebrating Christmas. Shoot, they're going to give you some gifts too. They're going to give you gifts. You know, they see you celebrating Thanksgiving. There's always that free place that give out free turkey. I know my mama used to go to that stuff. Right? You always go somewhere and they give out free turkey. They're going to give you something too. Now, they see you celebrating, they're going to give you some free turkey. They're going to give you some free things. Why? Because they see you doing what they do. Right? Mm-hmm. So if you were of the world would love his own. Right? They would love you too. They would love everything that's going on that you're doing. Mm-hmm.
But because you are not of the world, it's like, but I have chosen you out of the world, therefore the world hateth you.
Right? But because you are not of the world, right? Meaning you are separate and holy, just how the Most High condemned you to be, because you are separate and holy, right? But I have chosen you out of the world, meaning the Most High chose you out of this world, right? This is this is in red letters, by the way. This is Yahawashi speaking. Right? Therefore, the world hated you, just like they hated Yahawashi. They're gonna hate you also. Right? So if you're not celebrating Thanksgiving, right, you're gonna hear your mom on the phone talking to your auntie, talking to your cousins, your friends, or whoever she's on the phone with. Right? Like, I don't know what's wrong with him. He seemed to not care about the family, because we always eating as a family, and he was chilling in his room.
He was in his room reading the Bible.
Reading the Bible.
Not normal of him.
Exactly. He's being different. Right? He's not respecting us. He's being different from us.
And some families, I have to say, will even try to strip you of your Bible, try to strip you of this knowledge as well. Like, why are you in the Bible? I mean, not the Bible. Why are you in your room just reading the Bible alone by yourself now? You don't ever want to read in church anymore. Why don't you want to read in church? Maybe because I woke up to the fact that the church is leading us astray. You know what I mean? You try to bring that out to them, and they're on, like they don't ever want to change from their ways. They don't want to change from what they grew up on. Like they don't see what you see, because the scripture saying, "Blessed are they that see these things." Blessed are those that hear these things and understand these things, because it may not be meant for them at that time, or it just may not be meant for them at all. You just never know. So we still try to edify them. You know what I mean? Go ahead.
All right. So we should know that Yahawashi. Drop down to verse 23.
Verse 23. Mm-hmm. He that hateth me hateth my Father also.
Right. So they that hated Yahawashi, they hated the Most High also. Don't forget. Right. They're one. If you hate Yahawashi, you hate the Father. If you hate the Father, you hate Yahawashi. So we're being hated on for this, for not celebrating Thanksgiving with the family. We're not celebrating Thanksgiving, period, or Christmas. Not helping our family put up the Christmas lights. Or helping them build things around the tree. Build the tree up. We're not helping them put the tree up, put the star up the tree, because they're too short, so they want somebody tall to do it. If we're not helping them to do all this stuff, they're gonna talk bad on you. They're gonna talk down on you, and you got to be ready for this.
See us as an enemy,
right? So Yahawashi said, "He that hates me, hateth my Father also." So if you hate the Yahawashi, you also hating the Most High. Right? It's point blank. Period. If I'm being holy like Yahawashi, and you hate on me, right? You probably would have been hating on Yahawashi too, because he's doing the same thing I was doing, being holy and separate. Mm-hmm. And that's why it's important. We have to understand that keeping the law, statutes, and the commandments, right? It's like it would, trust me, but it would keep you on track.
That's right.
It will keep you on track. If you see Christmas coming up, right, go to the scriptures, go to the law, statutes, and commandments, right, and it would show you what you should and shouldn't be doing. It will show you the high holy days, the feast days that you should be celebrating and shouldn't be celebrating. Right? If you don't see it in the Torah, that means you shouldn't be celebrating it.
It's that simple.
That simple. Right? That means the men made it up, right? And y'all to obey the Most High over men. That's what the scripture says.
That's right.
You know, you can't serve two masters. Right? You can't serve two masters. You got to, you know, it's either the Most High or men. You know, if you're serving men and the Most High, you serving men. Right? You not of the Most High. You're not being holy and separate like the Most High told you to be. Right? So this Thanksgiving holiday is something we need to stay away from. You know? Can you say?
Wow.
So, you know, I want to encourage our people to keep the laws, to keep the statutes, and to keep the commandments. Right? And Thanksgiving is not part of it. Stay away from Thanksgiving. Yeah, that's the traditions of men. Right? It started back then. It started way back when we wasn't, with our forefathers were slaves. It started way back. And that's what they celebrating, to be honest. That's what they celebrating.
And not even knowing.
And yeah, we don't even know.
Just ignorant. And that's the problem. When our people have this mindset of, you know, it was in the past, you don't have to worry about it, it doesn't matter. That's what Esau pushes so heavily. And the reason why is because if we all collectively woke up to the fact that we were worshiping or following after the killings of the Northern Kingdom and the killings and celebrating all these things that happened to our people, we would be going against the system. So I see a mass awakening now. You know, you're seeing a lot of people waking up to the fact that Esau is nothing, or not even that Esau is nothing, but he ain't, you know, the S word, etc. Like what? Look at what they've done to our people. Think about that. You hear about our people being killed every single day now, literally every single day. And our people are just like, yo, we're getting tired of it. We're starting to get to that point where we're going to start rebelling a lot. You know, scriptures have to be fulfilled. You know, second Esdras, I believe it's 15 and 16. These things have to happen. You know, nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom. All these things have to transpire in order for us to get out of here. All right, but go ahead.
Big con. You know, prophecy, right? It need to happen for us to get out of here, right? And the only way, you know, you doing what the other nations do, the traditions of the other nations, it's not gonna, you know, it's not helping. It's not gonna bring you nowhere, right? We need our people, right? The nation of Israel to wake up. Right. Again, yeah, she said in my house, they call it Thanksgiving.
That's right.
Right. You know, if you look into the history up to this day, right, you need to know what you're celebrating and what you're not celebrating. Right. You see, we keep Thanksgiving, we keep Christmas, but we don't keep the Shabbat.
Think about that.
But you be in church, Sunday church preaching, you have to obey God over men. But you're the same one, right? You're not holding what the Most High told you to keep, which is the Sabbath day, right? Which is the feast and high holy days He gave us. But you celebrate the pagan holidays. Think about that.
No, sadly they believe Sunday to be the their Shabbat, but even then they don't keep it properly anyways.
They don't keep it properly,
you know, because we keep the Shabbat and we try to do what the Most High told us to do, congregating with our own people. You know, you don't buy or sell on the Shabbat. You do good on the Shabbat though. That's different. You do good on Shabbat, but you don't buy and sell on the Shabbat. Right? You don't do anything for your own pleasure, your own gain. With that being said, what do they do in the Christian church? Think about it. What do they do in the Christian church? All they do is talk bad about each other. They degrade one another. They're buying on that day. People are selling on that day in the church, doing all kinds of wickedness. It's all because it's antinomianism.
They got food after service with pork in it. You know, they'll give you pork in the plates. On a to-go plate.
Pork. Sometimes I've even heard about pig snout or a pig nose being on the plate as well. You know, inside of Esau's churches. Yeah. That right there is disgusting. That's beyond nasty. And they promote these things to our people. And then our people believe it's to be, you know, something good. they treat it as if it's a delicacy because Esau is rich. Esau runs the world right now. So they put all those things that they say and what they do over what we tell them. And that's a problem. But there is a shift in everything that's going on, though. We've been seeing it lately a lot. All praise be unto the Most High.
Khan.
So go ahead.
Khan again. I think that was it. You had any other scriptures to pull up?
Nah.
Khan. Well, that was it for today. Right. Just the whole purpose, right? To conclude this all, stay away from these pagan holidays. Keep the law, statutes, and commandments. Right. Keep the law, statutes, and commandments, and have faith in the Most High, in Yahawashi. You have to believe in Yahawashi to believe in the Most High. Right. He said eating pig feet and all this kind of mess is disgusting. And they don't see it like that. They don't know it's disgusting.
See, because our people, when we were in captivity and slavery, because you got to remember Stockholm syndrome. Years and years and years of oppression, you start to feel a certain way. Right. So now it's a part of our system. We got to wash it out of our system to eat those things and feel like it's okay. When Esau tells us, you got to fight and combat what Esau tells us. We have to, because for hundreds of years they were saying, yes, it's right to eat this, and they were just feeding us, leftover parts of the pig. And we understand that pigs eat everything. And you got us eating chitlins, pig feet, pig nose, pig ears, all these different foods, or all this part of the pig, all these different parts of the pig, and this is an abomination to the Most High. Because you start eating things that's in the waters that we're not supposed to be eating as well, like shrimp, crab, and lobster, eels, right, snails, things that don't even look like a delicacy. They don't even look good, but because Esau says it's good for us to eat, to consume, we just praise it over what the Most High told us to eat. Things of that nature, and that's wrong. Because if you look at what the Most High told us to eat, those things are all perfect to eat. They're all nutritional. Right? Eating berries, fruits, etc. All those things that are nutritious for the body. He gave us certain meats that we're supposed to eat as well. But then, like I said, Esau promotes that we should be eating everything. And what one nation would even put things even further than that? Moab. Moab eats. The things that Moab eats. Oh my goodness! See what I'm saying? Like, I've seen them eat spiders. I've seen them eat, scorpions. Squids. Yeah, octopi. Octopus.
They disgusting. Yeah, they are different disgusting.
Conscious said squid eggs. Pig
squid eggs.
It's just nasty.
That rumor that the Moabs ate bat. You know where they started.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what you eating bat for in the first place? Like, you nasty. Come on, man. And just like Thanksgiving, they'll make turkey. Well, turkey is good for you. But then they'll go on and make ham also, and pork and bacon
with the meat that we're supposed to be able to eat.
Exactly. They feel like they can't leave out the ham.
They put the clean, they put the clean and the unclean together, just as they do with the people today.
Exactly. So that all that is just going off. Thanksgiving is a holiday that we shouldn't be celebrating. It's the holiday of men. It's not of the Most High. It's not in the scriptures. It's not in the Torah. Yahawashi didn't keep it. We're supposed to be holy just like Yahawashi, and we shouldn't be keeping it also. We're supposed to be keeping what the Most High gave us, which is the law, statutes, and commandments. The feast days He gave us, we could hold those. The high holy days He gave us, we have our own, right? Because we're separate and holy. Right? You have a precept?
I was gonna say, to know what our holy days are, of course, you always go back to Leviticus 23. That's where our holy days are listed. You know what I mean? So you go to those. To this specific chapter, you see our holy days. And of course, we have other historical days that we also keep as holy days as well, like Purim, etc. But chapter 23 of Leviticus is where our holy days, our high holy days are.
So go ahead and check that out. Most High willing, one day we could go over that also. Right, Leviticus 23, the high holy days. The days we're supposed to be keeping. Right, we're supposed to be holy and separate. We're not supposed to be doing what these other men, these traditions of America, the United States. Right, I hear a lot. I hear a lot of the Pledge of Allegiance. Right, I hear in the Pledge of Allegiance, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. Right, you're pledging to the United States of America, to the flag. right? But you're not keeping the commandments. You should be pledging to the commandments. You should be trying to keep the commandments. You shouldn't be going after what America do.
Pledging to the Most High.
You're supposed to be pledging to the Most High and the commandments that He gave us. Now, that's what make you set apart. Just because you see everybody doing something, don't mean you should be doing it.
Because the scriptures say you should not be following a multitude to do evil. So whatever you see everybody else doing, you know it's wickedness or it's something that your spirit is already telling you, yo, this doesn't seem right. You got to listen to your spirit. Listen to what the Most High said, Because if you start going off into different things that everybody else is doing, you start, going with the trends. Now you've already been weeded out of the truth. Or you're weeded out of the things that you're supposed to be doing in the first place. Because now your mindset is on pleasing what the world is doing rather than pleasing what the Most High told you to do. Or pleasing the Most High.
2/3 going to be cut off.
For that exact reasons of that.
Right. That's so that means one third, right? 2/3 is going to be cut off. Right. What does that say about the 1/3? Right. They're not following the multitude. They're different. Right. So that's why it's important to be different. To be holy, to be set apart, to do what the Most High tells you to do, rather than men and their fake trash traditions, their evil works that they be putting into our people. And they've been doing for the longest. Right. So I encourage us to come back to the laws, statutes, and commandments. Make sure you read the scriptures, read Leviticus 23. Stay in the spirit, man. Endure to the end. Right. That's important. You got to stay in this to the end. Right. You will be hated. Expect to be hated for being different. You got to be ready for this, right? You have to be ready for this. You will be hated for this, for not doing what they do, for being separate and holy. But you have to be ready for this, because you're doing this for the Most High, right? Because you're listening to the Most High instead of men, right? So again, did you want to say anything?
I would want to say, when you put the Most High first, you always make enemies. You'll be able to see who your enemies are clear as day, because anybody teaching contrary to the law, statutes, and commandments are going to hate you or feel some type of way about you just for you trying to keep the law, statutes, and commandments. They feel like you're better than them. That's their mentality. They're like, you feel like you're better than me because you said that you can do this and because you're wearing fringes now.
I hear that a lot too.
That's that envious spirit. They get upset with you. Like, you should be still down here with me. You shouldn't be trying to level up. Because they, in their spirit, they know it's something that's right about what you're doing, but they live so much in the flesh. The flesh overtakes, their judgment. So what they should be doing, their flesh is saying no. It's suppressing the things that they're supposed to be doing. It suppresses that spiritual side, the right side, the good side of them. So when you put those things first, all the things of this world, the fleshly desires and all the wants that you may have, the lust of the eyes, the lust of the flesh, all these things, you ultimately always suppress the righteous side of you, which is the spiritual side of you. But the Most High tells you to do. Keeping the law, statutes, and commandments is that simple. Having the faith in Hamashiach Yahawashi and leaning on that faith by taking that leap of faith to keep the law, statutes, and commandments to be hated of all men.
The commandments, one of the commandments is to love thy brethren. Right? That's right. So that goes back to our forefathers, right? We have to love them. We have to love them. And what's been happening to them, right? It's something we should feel a type of way about. That's not something you should just forget.
Also, scriptures say to present yourself a living sacrifice. Think about that. To be a living sacrifice. For your own people.
For your own people.
Do these things for your people. Put in time and effort to edify them. Put in time and effort to see them when they're sick. Put in time and effort to pray for them, intercede for them, care for them, show them that you love them. All these things are prevalent in building up our people. It's extremely prevalent in building up our people. That togetherness that the Most High always set forth since the very beginning. That's why we have so many holy days, believe it or not, or one of the reasons why we have so many holy days. Because when you look at the holy days, what does the Most High require of us? To come together.
Every time,
no matter where you are. Back then, what would we do? We would come from places like Ethiopia, Egypt, etc., all to come back to Jerusalem or to Israel in general. Come back to Israel, back to Jerusalem. Behold, the feast of Passover, etc. We hold these high holy days that the Most High told us to do. It's that simple. So when you do all these things and you take all these things into consideration, you'll understand why it's so important to intercede for one another, to care for one another, check up on one another, and make sure that you let one another know that you love each other.
Big con. All right, so again, start keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. Read the book of Leviticus, chapter 23. Pray to the Most High that He gives you more wisdom, more knowledge, and understanding. And pray for your family also. Just because you're trying to be separate from them, that mean you don't have to pray for them, right? You got to make sure you pray for your family too, that they get out of the traditions of men, right? The traditions of America, that they get out of it too, right? So pray for them also, right? You want to see them win also, right? So again, I think that's it for today. That's all I'm going to touch on for today. Again, I'd like to give all praises and glory to the Most High, Yahawashi. Till next time, Shalom, Israel.
Shalom.
Shalom.